Welcome into This Week in College Baseball, brought to you by Driving the Line. My name is Alan Bell. We got a fantastic show lined up for you, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into it. And here is the brand new Week 6 top 25. Arkansas stays with the number 1 spot. Oregon State, Vanderbilt, Clemson all move up. Teams that are in green means that they have moved up in the rankings. Teams in red, they have moved down. Teams in blue, brand new to the top 25. So we see Vanderbilt after a huge weekend against Auburn, jump to 3. Clemson there against Duke this weekend, number 4. LSU drops to number 5 after a brutal weekend against Mississippi State. Florida moves up to number 6, starting to see some life out of the Gators again. Texas A&M drops after that weekend to Florida. Tennessee drops to 8 after going 1-2 against Alabama. Duke, as we mentioned, against Clemson drops to 9. East Carolina moves up number 10. Alabama moves up to number 11. Florida State, finally undefeated, finally makes its first appearance in the top 25, comes from not ranked to number 12. The Seminoles getting mad respect, as they should. Coastal Carolina moves up to 13. Virginia moves up to 14. Dallas Baptist continues, number 15 there. Wake Forest drops to 16. We see Oklahoma enter the top 25 after a big weekend against TCU. TCU drops to 18. Virginia Tech, welcome to the top 25. Excellent baseball team playing well right now. North Carolina drops to number 20 after a brutal weekend against Miami. Mississippi State, welcome to the top 25. Big weekend against LSU. Campbell drops to 22. Auburn to 23. UC Irvine to 24. And UC Santa Barbara stays the same right there at 25. So that is your top 25. Now let's break it down and get into it a little bit more. So the key weekend series that you want to know about, all right, this weekend, number 6, Florida, and number 5, LSU. Florida had, as we mentioned, a big weekend against Texas A&M, taking 2 out of 3. LSU, brutal weekend against Mississippi State. We'll see what they can do at the box at home against Florida. Going to be a great weekend series. Number 1, Arkansas. At number 23, Auburn. Arkansas continues to just play excellent baseball offensively and defensively on the pitching mound. Everything. This is just a complete, well-rounded team. Auburn, tough, brutal weekend against Vanderbilt. Florida State at number 4, Clemson. That's going to be a good one. We'll see if both of these teams can continue their hot streaks. Duke at NC State. We've got number 21, Mississippi State. At number 7, Texas A&M. Texas A&M looking to bounce back this weekend with a good showing series at home. Louisville at Wake Forest. Louisville, better team than they get credit for. Had a tough weekend against Virginia Tech, but let's see what Wake Forest has. Been a tough start to the season. Number 3, Vanderbilt at South Carolina. South Carolina looking to get itself right. Number 3, Vanderbilt, hot right now, playing excellent baseball. And then Ole Miss, much better SEC team than they get credit for, on the road at number 8, Tennessee. Tennessee looking to bounce back after that 1-2 weekend in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. Okay, so those are your big ranked weekend series to know. Here's some under-the-radar ones that you want to take a look at. Alabama at Georgia. The reason we have this, well, Alabama, 11th ranked team in the country, playing excellent baseball. Georgia coming off a tough weekend at Kentucky. Just trounced left and right. Kentucky was scoring at will, but Georgia, one of the highest scoring teams in the country. Pay attention to the totals in this series because Alabama can swing the stick as well. Missouri State at Indiana State. We've talked about Indiana State on a hot streak here, 7 straight games, scoring 7+ runs or more in all 7 wins. Missouri State, not a bad baseball team as well. You might be able to get Indiana State at some nice prices. Pay attention there. Kentucky at Missouri. Missouri, not that good. Kentucky, very good. Playing excellent baseball. Let's see what they do on the road against Missouri if they fare well. Kentucky likely headed to the top 25. And then St. Mary's at San Diego. All right. Saw San Diego against Michigan. Look good. St. Mary's, decent baseball team as well. Pay attention here. You might be able to get San Diego at some decent prices at home. Pay attention to this series. Going to be a really fun one out there on the West Coast. So those are the kind of the under the radar series you want to pay attention to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right. Your team leaders here. Home runs, Georgia. again, even with getting just trounced by Kentucky. They were mashing. They hit 8 home runs this past week. They lead the country at 56. Tennessee with 54. Virginia Tech jumping way up there with 51. Duke with 46. And Coastal Carolina with a massive weekend in terms of run production. Have 44 home runs on the season. Pitching, we mentioned Arkansas. This team is unbelievable. All right. They're tough to bet because you just don't get great juice prices because they're so good. But I continue to mention them because when you get them, they are just absolutely lethal. Duke, and these numbers here are the opponent's batting averages throughout the season. So teams collectively this year are hitting 183 against Arkansas, 195 against Duke, 198 against East Carolina, 201 against South Carolina. And look at UC Santa Barbara. Gauchos, opponents are hitting 203 against them. We'll talk about Santa Barbara here in a second, but they've become such a darling for all of us here in the Driving the Line crew. So there are your team leaders. Next, our rotation. Okay. So I'm going to highlight some areas that you want to pay attention to. All right. Vanderbilt, an unbelievable weekend. This team is finally playing how Tim Corbin baseball, what it looks like, what he wants out of them. 18-3 on the year. They went 4-0 last week. You see there in the week 5 column. They are averaging 9 runs per game and allowing 4.5 on the season. You see Duke went 2-3 this past weekend, but again, it's a tough series, man. 15-5 on the year, 9.4 runs per game, and only giving up 3.9. That's what you want to pay attention to with Duke. They can score, but they hold opponents down. So pay attention to them. Florida State, we mentioned 18-0. Okay, so first off, 10.8 runs per game, only allowing 3.6 runs per game this season. Went 4-0 last week. We're on official Florida State watch because a loss is going to happen. It's going to come. Could it be Tuesday midweek game? Don't know. Could it be this weekend? Don't know. But keep an eye on that because, again, it's going to happen at some point. It just is. We have to pinpoint and find exactly where it's going to be. Tennessee, 18-3 on the year, 10.2 runs per game, still mashing at the plate, hitting bombs, singles, doubles, triples, you name it, this team can hit. Only giving up 3.2 runs per game on average this year. Went 2-2 last week. Those 2 losses were to Alabama. Texas A&M, 18-2 on the year. All right, 9.4 runs per game. 3.0 given up this year. This team wins by scoring runs, but limiting you. That is how they get down. Went 2-2 in week 5. Dallas Baptist, our boys, 16-3 on the year. All right, 9.2 runs per game. Only giving up 4.8, a little high, but still solid. They went 3-1 last week. They're hitting the ball excellently right now. Alabama, 17-3, spoke about that. Big series win against Tennessee, 9.5 runs per game, giving up 4.5. Keep an eye there, but they went 2-2 this past week as well with the midweek loss. UC Santa Barbara, 12-5 on the year. All right, 8.4 runs per game, 4.4 on average. So keep an eye on those numbers there. I want to see that run production offensively come up just a little bit, but they play good baseball, man. Went 3-0 last week. See if they continue their streak. Kentucky, who we spoke about, 17-3 on the year, 8.1 runs per game, 4.2 giving up on the year. Went 4-0 last week. We'll see, as we mentioned, what they do against Missouri on the road. Oregon State, love Oregon State, 17-2. All right, they're scoring 9.5 runs per game. This team can hit anywhere, anytime, giving up 4.4, went 2-1 last week. Continue to ride Oregon State. They are just a wagon. And Coastal Carolina was just mashing all weekend long, 17-3 on the year, 11.6 runs per game, giving up 4.8 this year, and went 3-1 last week. So that's our rotation right there, who we have going into week 6. Love these teams. They're playing great. We will hit it all throughout the midweek, and then, of course, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on Driving the Line. Okay, now, final slide here, the scouting department. So these are the teams right there, close to coming in the rotation, all right? But you got to pick and choose where you're going to play them, all right? Campbell, massively scoring runs, all right? 15-4 in the year, 9.6 per game, but giving up, all right, allowing 7.1. Some of those were early in the season, but just pay attention there. It doesn't give yourself much wiggle room. However, look at totals. When Campbell is playing, find the opponent. You might find some gold there. Texas Tech, looking to get them back for weekend against Baylor. 14-6 on the year. You can still hit, man. 10.5 runs per game, giving up 6.1. Again, pay attention to totals in Texas Tech games as well. Clemson, solid. 17-2. All right. Run production offensively, not fantastic. 7.8. 4.7 that they're allowing on the year. Not great either, but they're 17-2, and this team just finds ways to win games. And they've had pretty decent schedule so far as well. So keep that in mind. Clemson, good baseball team. All right, Florida. I know that we've spoken about them, that they are close on that line, but they're kind of playing better. All right, 12-7 on the year, 8.2 runs per game offensively, giving up 5.8, but that number, we should see it. Well, we'll see against, LSU this weekend, but don't give up on Florida just yet. You got to pick and choose, but don't give up on them just yet. Auburn, see how they bounce back against from that weekend against Vanderbilt, 13-6 on the year. But again, those losses came against Vanderbilt just this past weekend. 8.7 runs per game, give it up 5.6. Vanderbilt didn't help that. Let me just say that. But just keep an eye there. Auburn, pick and choose, find your spots. Indiana State, love some Indiana State. All right, 14-4. 7.1 runs per game. Would like to see a little bit more. 4.9 runs per game that they're allowing. Again, a little high, but not terrible. Just keep an eye on Indiana State. They're not going to be a team that we play day after day after day. However, this team finds ways to win games and do it their way. So, again, that's why they're in the scouting department. They're not in the rotation just yet, but pay attention to them. All right, Georgia, just mentioned. Big series at home against Alabama this weekend. 17-4 on the year. Again, most of those losses came against Kentucky. They mash at the plate. They score a ton of runs. They lead the country in home runs, 9.9 runs per game on average, allowing 5.6 runs per game on average to opponents. So pay attention there again this weekend against Alabama. Check and see what totals look like. I don't ever get totals before the shows start daily, so it's tough for me to play them, but you guys and girls out there, pay attention there before first pitch in those games this weekend. You might find some gold. And then Ole Miss, right? 15-6 on the year. I want to start including them, taking a look. Now, brutal series against Tennessee in Knoxville, especially Tennessee coming off that series against Alabama. But Ole Miss is a team to pay attention to. Quite frankly, them and Mississippi State. All right. Ole Miss 15-6 on the year, 7.9 runs per game on average, 4.8 that they are allowing. Again, be careful against Tennessee, but they're playing good baseball, man. Ole Miss always has a solid baseball team, always well coached. So pay attention to there. You might find some gold as well. So that's it. That's all the time that we have for this week in college baseball. And again, we're going to see how the midweek games go Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we will have these numbers ready for you again on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, plus the trends to know and statistics and more, everything that you will want. Also, make sure I'll put a link for the Google Drive available to everyone in the Driving the Line crew. You don't have to be a premium member for that. We will I'll drop in all of these slides, stats, notes, everything, so you can access them whenever you want. Download them, take them with you, and just help yourself, because it's all of us together against the books. Especially, we'll see what they do this weekend if they give us more plays on Saturday and Sunday before 10 a.m. Eastern. But till then, all right, we'll be live again Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, normal time. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, as you know, breaking down all these weekend games. But until then, best of luck. Cash these tickets. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.